1978 was a prolific year for Fiat, committed to renewing its price list and creating new models. Among these, two popular sports: the legendary 127 Sport, which we have already talked about, in a video of which you can find the link in the description, and the less known, but no less interesting, 131 Racing. To create this version, Fiat follows the path already trodden by Ford, with the Escort RS, and by Opel, with the Ascona SR, and the rarer Ascona Sport. Economic but captivating sports cars, built using available components, to limit investments and production times. They are defined: family sports. Racing is built on the basis of 131, 2 doors. Its sporty characterization is complete. The changes affect bodywork, interiors and mechanicals. Externally, the processing involves all the accessory parts. The front grille features double headlights of different diameters, air intakes with oval holes, and the round Fiat emblem, with a red background, dedicated to the sports version. New plastic bumpers, the front one completed by a spoiler. Also new are the wheel arches, and the profile that joins them. The wheel rims are the same adopted by the 132, and by the X19, 5-speed. The aesthetics are completed by the sports rear-view mirrors, and the model identification plates. The racing word is located in the right rear light unit, while 2 plates, indicating the displacement and the initials, TC, which stands for twin cam, are positioned in the final part of the side. A specific color table identifies the model: racing orange, metallic light gray, metallic gun gray, black. These colors were available for the Italian market. Pastel light green was also available for export markets. Violet was available only for the German market. On request, it was possible to combine bumpers, grille and moldings in different colors, choosing from those available for the bodywork. It was thus possible, for example, to request the 131 Racing gun gray, with orange bumpers and moldings, or light gray, with gun gray bumpers and moldings, or black, with green bumpers and moldings. All the aesthetic changes, combined with the slightly lowered suspension, and the larger wheels, contribute to making the 131 Racing more aggressive. The interiors have more limited interventions. The seats, with a sporty design, are well profiled, and are upholstered in black or orange velvet, to match the body color. The rear seat is equipped with adjustable headrests, and a removable central armrest. The floor is entirely covered in anthracite-colored carpet, with black rubber footrest. The dashboard is the same as the more luxurious versions of the 131, modern in design and ergonomics, and equipped with the successful sliding flap on the top. The steering wheel, already seen on other versions of the 131 and on the Ritmo, is height adjustable. The short gear lever has an anatomical handle. The instrumentation is complete and clearly visible. The side panels are covered in black velvet, or orange, and gray plastic. The finishes were more accurate than the cheaper versions of the 131. Blue anti-glare strip on the windscreen, sun visor with built-in parking disc, and cigarette lighter, complete the equipment. Optional, radio, 14-inch oversized wheels, metallic pane. The mechanicals include the appreciated Lampredi twin cam, in the 1995cc version, already adopted on the 132, on the Lancia Beta sedan, coupe, and Monte Carlo, and later, developed in various versions that equipped the Ritmo Abarth. Various Lancia sports cars, from the 037, to the various declinations of the Delta HF Integrale. The version, created for the Lancia Beta, is mounted on the 131 Racing. Equipped with a double-barrel Weber carburetor, it has 115 horsepower, 5 more than the unit fitted to the Fiat 132. This successful engine is combined with an Abarth 5-speed gearbox with shorter ratios. The suspensions have been revised for sporting use, stiffer shock absorbers, and lowered suspension. 185/70 tires, on 13 inches rims or, on request, Pirelli P6 185/60, on 14 inches rims, of the same design. The braking system is the same as the quiet versions of the 131, discs at the front and rear drum. The tank has a capacity of 50 liters, while the weight is 1,045 kilograms. Fiat declares a top speed of 180 kilometers per hour in fifth gear, acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 10 seconds, kilometer from standstill in 31.5 seconds. The declared consumption is 9.8 liters for 100 kilometers. In combined use, real performance was superior. In the tests of various magazines, the acceleration was more brilliant, from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.5 seconds, and the kilometer from standstill in just under 31 seconds. But consumption was also different. Using the car sportily, the values were worse than stay on the road. The 131 Racing has a sporty character. The engine has a consistent torque even at low RPM, and has a considerable extension. Its sonority is characteristic and recognizable. The gearbox maneuvers well, and the close ratios contribute to the driving fun. The steering is quite direct, but it also feels quite heavy. The stiffened suspension improves the road holding of the 131, at least in dry conditions. On wet and rough roads, the particular design of the rigid rear axle, the stiffer suspension, and rear-wheel drive make handling more delicate, and driving requires a lot of attention. But overall, the Racing looks like a fun car to drive. The only real flaw in behavior are the brakes, which, being those of the less performing versions, are undersized for sports use. 131 Racing had a good sales success in export markets, especially in the countries of Northern Europe. In United Kingdom, it was called Mirafiori Sport. The identification plates, and, of course, the right-hand drive, are different. In Germany, it was called 131 Sport. In 1980, to celebrate the conquest of the World Rally title by Walter Rohrl and the 131 Abarth Group 4, Fiat presented the limited series 131 Racing Walter Rohrl Edition. This version was characterized by a two-tone decal that ran along the side, a spoiler on the boot lid, one above the rear window, additional headlights on the front bumper, wheels with different colors, the autograph of the German champion, compare on the rear pillars. It was marketed in Germany, Holland, Denmark and Belgium, until 1981. There are no official data on the number of units produced, which should be around 1,500. The 131 Racing left the Fiat list in 1981, with an estimated production of around 10,000 units. In 1981, some 131 Racing, with supercharger, were produced. Aesthetically, the same as the standard Racing, initially, they were only set up in gun gray. They were fitted with the alloy wheels of the Ritmo Abarth, and Pirelli P6 185 60 14-inch tires. The identification plates of the model also change. Instead of the rear word Racing, appears the wording Volumetrico, accompanied by the Abarth badge, which also appears on the front fenders, accompanied by a small plate with the wording Volumetrico. Internally, the steering wheel, also taken from the Ritmo Abarth, and the instrumentation, which includes 3 new gauges, with green graphics on a black background, mounted in the center of the dashboard. 2 small Abarth badges stand out against the background of the speedometer and rev counter. The engine is enhanced thanks to the Volume X compressor, designed by Abarth, already mounted on 188 specimen of 131 4-door Mirafiori, called Volumetrico Abarth, and marketed between 1981 and 1982. This is the system that will then be mounted on the Fiat Argenta VX, on the Lancia Beta Trevi, Coupe and HPE, VX. The one mounted on the 131, is more massive, and allows greater power and torque. The declared power is 140 horsepower, the weight about 1,045 kilograms. The entire transmission is designed by Abarth, with a more robust gearbox, shaft and differential, than the standard Racing components. The differential is self-locking. The setup has also been revised, with more specialized Koni shock absorbers. The brakes are also enhanced, and ventilated discs appear at the front. The 131 Racing Volumetrico Abarth has very high performance, with speed peaks close to 200 km per hour, and acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour, of about 8.5 seconds. Consumption is also much higher. All 131 Racing Volumetrico Abarth can be identified by the different arrangement of the expansion tank, and that of the wiper fluid. In addition, they have, inside the engine hood, at the height of the left air intake, a sticker bearing the progressive number. They are also recognizable by the AKV1 approval mark in the book. It is certainly not the exact number of 131 Racing Volumetrico Abarth from the first batch. There are another 25 specimens, painted in a particular very light blue, with purple bumpers and tailpipes. In 1982, a few specimens were set up in the colors dedicated to normal production racing. The Racing is a very rare model today, because, despite the proverbial reliability and sturdiness of the 131, many have been scrapped, especially due to the incentives for the purchase of new cars, so much in vogue in Italy, and so catastrophic for the cars of historical interest. Others have had a more glorious end. Some served as a basis for the creation of replicas of the more famous 131 Abarth, others were prepared to be able to race in rallies, both in the early 1980s and recently for historic rallies. The most famous are those of the Scuderia Quattro Rombi, and, more recently, the one built by Paolo Diana, which has now entered the history of rally legend. The surviving original specimens are very few, and the prices of these are constantly rising. Some of these have mechanical processing, especially in the power supply and suction. It is a car that deserves due consideration among historic and collector cars, both for its rarity, but also because it witnesses that unrepeatable period in which cars, in Italy, knew how to make them.